want to talk about something that a lot of Nintendo fans have been talking about for quite some time now, and that would be the Nintendo Switch Online service. Now, NSO actually replaced the Virtual Console, and not only did it do that, but it required us to pay for online as well. So games like Splatoon and Mario Kart, previously we would be able to play online for free, but now with this service, Nintendo requires us to pay a subscription fee, whether it be monthly, semi-monthly, or yearly. And instead of our Virtual Console, we got a slate of NES, SNES, and now Nintendo 64 games along with Sega Genesis. And instead of buying each game separately, Nintendo just updates the list, and essentially you get a certain selection of games on each service that you're able to play. And honestly, I didn't really care much for it. There are some games, some legacy titles that Nintendo has always re-released when they've gotten the chance, and sure, here they are again. Now this time I don't have to buy them again, which I own them on multiple consoles, I own them on virtual consoles, so all in all, I wasn't really bummed out by this. The only thing that really upset me initially was the fact that I had to pay for this service now when it used to be free. But other than that, I really didn't have any huge issues or gripes. Now, I know I'm in the minority here because a lot of Nintendo fans do have issues with the service, and yeah, I can admit it's definitely lackluster and it doesn't really give fans of Nintendo's IP a lot of reason to purchase this, only solely because you want to play games online with your friends, and that's about it. Other than that, there's nothing else really tying people to the service. And when Nintendo did add Nintendo 64 games, they actually upped the price too, so that really annoyed a lot of Nintendo fans. I honestly didn't care much about it, because I did like the inclusion of N64 titles. I do have a lot of nostalgia there, and it was really cool to order the wireless controller from Nintendo and play some of those games with an actual Nintendo 64 controller. But there's one thing that they did when they announced this expansion pack for the service, was that they included DLC, paid DLC, for Animal Crossing for free if you are a member of the expansion pack. And initially I thought to myself, well, that's a smart move on Nintendo's part. Animal Crossing New Horizons is wildly popular, and that would certainly drive a lot of people to the service. But I didn't think too much of it at the time. I just thought that this was just a unique way for them to get early adopters into the upgraded tier. I didn't think that we'd be seeing anything else from this, to be quite honest. But then, a couple months later, we see the announcement of DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And if you're a member of the expansion pack service, you also get that DLC with no additional cost. And this is when I started to think that if Nintendo keeps doing this, then in my honest opinion, it makes the service 10 times better than what it currently is. And with the announcement of the release date for Splatoon 3, we also got Octo expansion added onto the expansion pack service, which that released, I believe, back in 2018. And just a minor tidbit, I did go and play it. I have yet to play it, and I gotta say, it's some really good DLC. Probably some of the best levels in any Splatoon game I've ever played in my entire life. I really, really enjoyed it. But anyway, that just goes to show how focused they are on this, and the fact that they would pull from a previous DLC slot and throw that in there was really awesome, because for me personally, I never purchased the Octo expansion, so it was nice to get it at no additional cost, and that I could just go and play it immediately. Now, if Nintendo decides to keep doing this, I think that would be a very, very smart move for them. I don't think they should capitalize on new game releases or anything like that. I think slowly but surely they start throwing some of the back DLC on there and just any new current DLC going forward. Like, I wouldn't want them to put the Breath of the Wild expansion pass or the DLC for Breath of the Wild on the service when they release the sequel to Breath of the Wild. I would much rather them do that way before. And then any other DLC we've got, like the Pokken DLC, I don't know if necessarily they can do that because Bandai, I believe, had a hand in that. So I'm not sure how that would go, but if they could somehow get more DLC onto the service day one and some back catalog DLC, I really think that would make the service really worthwhile, because when you think about it, both I could be wrong on this, but I believe both expansion passes, DLC for Animal Crossing and Mario Kart, would have put you at about $50. And I believe the Octo expansion was about $20. So that right there, that's $70, which you're saving 20 bucks right from the get-go. And then, yeah, it's nice to have, you know, the SNES, the NES, the Genesis, and the Nintendo 64 games. And I'm sure they're going to continue on with adding more games to the service. I don't think they can really up the price. I think they just kind of wanted to get it into a sweet spot because it was very cheap. It's about $20 for the year, which is $40 less than, actually, I think it's a lot less than what you'd see with Game Pass and what you'd see with Sony's subscription service as well. So I think it was just a way for them to kind of, okay, we've been in this for a little bit, we're at this price point, we really want to mark it up, but we have to obviously justify that. And I think the service definitely still lacks a lot. There's no voice chat. There's a lot of things that a lot of online services have had for years that Nintendo still doesn't have, so it'd be nice to see those included. But I just want to say that I really like this inclusion of adding DLC on, because I'm really not the type of person to buy DLC immediately. The only one time I've ever bought in DLC day one, before I even owned the game, was for Breath of the Wild. Other than that, I really don't dip my toes in DLC, even if it's a game I really enjoyed. For example, Splatoon 2, I really enjoyed Splatoon 2 when it came out, and I planned on playing Octo expansion, but I just never really got around to it. But the fact that it was added on the service at no extra cost and I could go download it immediately really made me jump right back into it. Not only did I play the DLC, I just was like whatever and started a new file in Splatoon 2 and just replayed the entire game. So if Nintendo can find a way to really capitalize on this and keep this momentum going in terms of adding DLC for new games, for existing games that they might add DLC onto, so on and so forth, I really think that would make the service worthwhile. And like I said, there's still a lot of adjustments that they need to make here, but if they can continue on with this DLC path that they've been doing, I think that would be really great for them. So, what do you guys think about this? Do you think Nintendo needs to do a lot more than just add new DLC? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. Bye.